Hello YouTube and welcome back to another video on Green Brothers Flying. As you can see, this isn't your typical flight vlog that you see from us. Today we start a new series on our YouTube channel called Line Up and Wait. In this series we will interview ramp hands, pilots, spotters, and everyone in between to get their story on how they got started in aviation. On this first episode of Line Up and Wait, I'm joined by Jake Youngs. Jake is an avid plane spotter and has had his work featured by the local air as well as a major Part 135 cargo carrier who reposts his shots on their own Facebook page. So Jake, welcome to the very first episode of Line Up and Wait.
Glad to be here.
So, to start, tell us about yourself.
Well, I was born and raised in Phoenix, Arizona. That's where I've gotten my start in plane spotting, and that's pretty much where I'm going to be staying in the plane spotting world. You know, I spot out of Sky Harbor. I'm probably the biggest spotter down there. I spotted Scottsdale and Deer Valley, other airports locally. I've been into aviation since 2009. And yeah, that's pretty much my whole aviation world so far.
Nice. You said that you got into aviation in 2009. What got you started in aviation? Was it airplane rides, just going to the airport and spotting, or could you elaborate on that?
Well, funny that you had asked that, but back in 2009, I flew on my first airplane. It was a flight between Sky Harbor and Orlando. And as soon as I walked into the airport, you know, I was just hooked instantly. As soon as I saw the airplanes and what they were all doing, I couldn't get enough of it. And for a while there, I actually kind of lost touch with aviation. And what brought me back into it was I wanted to start my own company. And in doing that, I wanted to have a private jet. So I started looking at different airplanes, and I found Boeing on their website, and I found a whole bunch of other manufacturers, and I was just hooked right then and there.
Nice.
And ever since then, I just haven't lost that fire for aviation.
So it's kind of off topic, going off script here, but you said you wanted to start a business if you could. What kind of plane would you want for that business if that happened to come along?
The first airplane that I saw when I just Googled up airplane was the Boeing 737. And I saw that and I was like, that's the plane I want. Starting off big, starting off strong.
Hey, that's the only way to go. So,
but the crazy thing was, I wanted to set up a little miniature airline system for my company, so you know I could have employees in Denver and all different states in the United States and just fly them into Phoenix and fly them back out at the end of the day. But back then, I didn't understand how branch offices worked, so I just thought of flying everybody into Phoenix.
So you kind of told us about how you got into aviation. What got you into plane spotting?
I used to watch aircraft documentaries and other shows likes on YouTube, and one day I was supposed to go hang out with my aunt, and I just started begging her to take me to the airport to go watch airplanes, and from then on, I was stuck to it.
And how long have you been plane spotting?
About 6.5 years.
Wow. So
from the same spot.
So you've been spotting 6 or 7 years, and where do you like to spot? Locations, airports, etc.
Mainly Sky Harbor, but I've done spotting Sky Harbor, Scottsdale, Deer Valley. I've been to John Wayne. I've done spotting there. I've driven past LAX, so I guess that's considered plane spotting from a distance. I've been to Orlando, and I've been to Seattle, as well as Payne Field and Boeing Field as well.
Nice, nice. Any, particular locations you like to spot at Sky Harbor? I know you have some nice little areas from the parking deck, garages, but anywhere.
That's right.
But anywhere else around Sky Harbor that's good spotting locations?
Well, first off, you can go on the internet and you can find a website that will list every single spotting zone that is known as Sky Harbor. But my personal favorites would have to be the Terminal 4 parking garage, excuse me. There's also the East Economy garages. You can go in the southwest corner of the South Garage, or you can go in the northwest corner of the North Garage. And both of those offer pretty good views. If airplanes are departing to the east, then they'll buzz right past you. Or if they're landing to the west, they'll also buzz right past you there. There's also the 40th Street University spot that puts you on the other side of the river from the airport, but still airplanes buzz you on the way in and out. And then there's also the north side by the Mesa hangar, right on air lane. It puts you less than 50 yards from the south or the north runway.
Right. So if any of these plane spotters that are listening to this episode want to go spot at Sky Harbor and meet up with Jake, there you go. Some tips and tricks. What are some of your favorite aircraft to spot at Sky Harbor or at John Wayne, etc.?
My favorite airplane to spot would probably have to be the Boeing 767. It's a pretty frequent aircraft here at Sky Harbor, mostly with the cargo carriers FedEx and UPS. We also have Amazon Prime that flies them in here, ATI Cargo, ABX Cargo, Atlas Air, other companies like that. But on the commercial side, Hawaiian flies them in here every single day.
I did not know about Hawaiian flying the 76 in there. So going along,
I'm looking at a picture of it right now, actually.
So going along with that question, what is the rarest aircraft you've ever caught, and what is your all-time favorite airplane?
Rarest aircraft I have ever caught. That's a good question. I'd probably shoot. You mean like rare for Phoenix or rare for just airplanes in general?
In general. It could be Phoenix. It could be somewhere else.
For Phoenix, I'd probably have to say the rarest airplane I've caught is a C-17 Globemaster. Those are pretty rare at Sky Harbor. And out of all the 6.5 years I've been spotting there, I've only seen and caught one.
Wow. You would think they'd be more, especially since they're big airplanes, and you would think they would go to the bigger airports.
Well, the thing of it is, though, is a lot of them fly in and out of Luke Air Force Base. That airport is mostly fighter jets and stuff like that, but they do fly them in and out there on occasion.
I forgot about Luke Air Force Base.
Largest AFB in the U.S.
Wow. What type of airplane is your favorite? I don't know if you've answered
my
this.
top five. No, I haven't. My top five favorites would be the Boeing 767, the Airbus A350 extra wide body, the Airbus A330, Airbus A320, and then the 737.
Okay, so you're kind of split between Airbus and Boeing. Even though a little hint about fun fact about Jake, he thinks he's an Airbus fanboy. But I mean,
I sit right on the fence.
I mean, it's clear he will say team trade table, but I mean he's right there on the fence. So I'm gonna hold you accountable for that, Jake. Since we got
interesting fact that I haven't told very many people. What got me hooked on the 767 was, to me, it looked like an even bigger 737 from the front. So I was like, you know what? If I like the 737, I want something that's bigger but still looks just like it. And that's legitimately what got me hooked on it.
It really does. When you look at it very, very closely, a 767 from the front looks like a 737, just bigger and fatter.
Well, especially the wings.
Yeah. Now, you can't really say the same thing with the 75, but hey.
No.
The 75 is an interesting airplane. Since we kind of covered the fun things of spotting, let's get to the technical side of plane spotting. I know you have a lot of cool camera gear. So what kind of equipment do you use? Camera, lens, tripod, etc.?
I've got a whole bunch of cameras here. My main two bodies at this point are the EOS 80D and the EOS 60D. Those are both good crop DSLRs, but I want to move over to a full frame, because it can support bigger lenses and stuff like that. But it depends where you're spotting at for the lens dimensions. At Sky Harbor, the one that I use is the EF 70-300 image stabilization Mark II. That comes in at about $350 refurbished. This is my previous lens, the EF 75 to 300, which comes at about $75 used on Amazon. And these are both full frame compatible lenses, so they'll work with Canon full frame or Canon crop frames. This is the EF 55 to 250. This one is good for crop frames, or I'm sorry, EFS 55 to 250. Works really good with crop frames. You know, it's got a good zoom range for airports, but it's not perfect. And then this is good for crop frames if you're doing close-up shots. This is the EFS 18 to 135. You know, it's got a nice wide angle to it, and you know, if you're spotting in a spot that's not very far from the runway, then you want to get the entire airplane in the shot, a wide angle lens is going to be your best bet. But if you're standing at a good distance from the runway and you want to get the whole airplane in the shot, go with the 70 to 300. Or if you want to go all out on a full frame like I'm doing, then go with the Tamron 150 to 600. It's an expensive lens, but it's worth it.
Cool. So, kind of building on that question, for someone who wants to go and get into plane spotting, what type of camera do you recommend and why?
I would recommend probably starting off with a Canon EOS Rebel, as much as I hate to say that, because they're, you know, kind of rookie cameras. But go away, Siri. But you can go and get the 55 to 250 and EFS 18 to 55 and get the Rebel, and those will be great starter cameras and great starter lenses, you know, just to see if you really want to get into it or what you want to do with your plane spotting hobby. But I would say if you're just getting started into it and you're not sure about photography yet, don't go and invest, you know, upwards of $1,000 into a camera and your lens system if you're not sure about it yet.
Very nice. So I'm an amateur and I only have an iPhone, so I might actually look into that.
Oh, you're a rookie.
All right, I'm a rookie. Wow. Anywho, do you have any tips and or tricks to plane spotting and getting better shots?
With an iPhone?
With anything, an iPhone or you know, a starter camera or something like that.
Well, if I were shooting with a phone, the first thing that I would do is I would go over to Amazon and spend $15 or $20 to get a lens kit for my phone. It's basically just you get a clip and then the lenses sit on top of that, so you can get a telephoto zoom out of your phone rather than just using the regular pinch to zoom. You actually zoom in on the lens.
Oh, very interesting.
But yeah, for starting out at the airport, though, or being a rookie, two of the things that I would do is, number one, like I said earlier, go on the website and see what locations the airport has for spotting. And number two, I would go on FlightAware and look up the airport ICAO code and see what pictures other people have taken at that airport, so you can get an idea of what your angles are going to be, what your zoom is going to be. A lot of those photographers on FlightAware, if you message them or comment on their posts, they'll tell you what they were using and what their settings were, et cetera, et cetera. They'll give you the location of where they were at, how to get to that location. Most of them are very friendly.
Right. Cool. I might actually have to look into that because I wanna up my spotting a little bit since we only have run.
All it takes is $15.
Yeah, and $15 is pretty easy here. Well, anything you want to add, Jake, to this episode before we kind of conclude it? It's going to be kind of short, how we kind of want them here. So,
in addition to the photography equipment, I would always recommend take extra batteries with you. And then even if you're carrying extra batteries, always take a charger as well. Just, you know, in case you have that one battery that dies. But I would also suggest if you get a DSLR like a Rebel or whatever you may buy, put a battery grip on it so you can use two batteries at once instead of just one battery. You'll be able to shoot for longer and get a better life out of it. I would also highly recommend taking it with you so that when it starts getting dark, you know, if you're shooting with your hands and it gets dark outside, your camera's going to take a longer time to take pictures. And if you're shooting handheld, that's going to get blurry. But if you put it up on a tripod, then it shouldn't get as blurry.
Right. I always think that tripods are good. Plane
Yeah,
spotting.
they're always good to have around.
Right.
And for even something like this, if you get a Rebel and you throw the cheap 55 to 250 or the 75 to 300 on there, you can spend $20 on a tripod and it'll work just fine. But one thing to keep in mind, though, watch the camera and the lens combination weight, because if your camera gets over the carrying capacity of that tripod, you can actually fold up that tripod and your camera can go slamming into the ground.
Oh, gosh.
If you're not careful.
You don't want that happening. Are you talking from experience?
Yes, I am, actually.
Hey, we always like those tricks and tips. Anything else you want to add before I wrap it up, or was that pretty much it?
Yes, I do, actually. Tips and tricks to plane spotting. The top 5 tips and tricks that I would give to everybody. Know the airport spotting locations and how to get to them before you go spotting. You'll save yourself a ton of time when you get to the airport, and you'll miss less airplanes. If you're trying to take pictures, know the airport lens requirements. Like as I was saying, know what the length of the zoom you're going to need is. Number 3, know if the airport allows plane spotting, because a lot of the airports now don't. Every airport in Phoenix doesn't have a single issue with it. Know the airplanes you're trying to spot. And the last tip I would say is bring a scanner and know the airport frequencies, and also watch Flight Radar 24. That will save you so much guessing time from trying to figure out which runway the airplane is landing on.
That helps out
or departing.
tremendously. I got my scanner in every time I go and spot at my local airport. I always have it the 2 frequencies. I have it on tower and approach. And whenever a certain airport I'm trying to plane spot, once it goes to tower, I switch my scanner back to tower, and it's so helpful. Or you're probably going to say preset them, weren't you, and just hit the preset numbers.
Well, one other thing I have set up is I've got a whole bank on my scanner that's dedicated to nothing but Sky Harbor frequencies. And then I just set it up so that it scans through those frequencies, and anytime anything comes through on a frequency, it just lands on that. As soon as that transmission is done, it just starts running through the frequencies again. But one other thing to keep in mind, if you don't have a scanner, you can go on your phone and you can get an app called Live ATC. It's delayed by a few seconds, but it's a good alternative to spending $100 on a scanner.
Right. And I think the app's like $3 or something.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's something cheap. So if you want to hear ATC while you plane spot and don't want to spend $100, spend the $3 to get the app. Totally worth it.
It is. It's pretty good.
I don't want to say this for a third time, but anything else? I know you have a lot of tricks and tips.
Let me see real quick. One other thing that is kind of handy to carry on you if you're going into airport hangars, sometimes they can be kind of dark. Take a speed light if you have one. You can take the flash. It just slides on to the top of your camera, and then when you take a shot, it fires this instead of firing the onboard flash. And these are nice and justifiable because you don't get a whole lot of shadows out of these, because you can take them and you can angle them so they bounce off the ceiling and onto the plane. Whereas with the onboard flash, it's going to fire directly onto your subject, and it's going to cast a lot of shadows.
Right. Never thought about that. I don't do a lot of hangar spotting just because it's hard to get to, but that is a very, very good trick. And I've even learned some stuff from you that I didn't know about. So I think everybody that listens to this and watches it can learn a few things from you.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
I'm just trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, one other thing in the stabilization category, just like tripods, if you're shooting during the day or shooting during the night, lenses, they can get kind of heavy if you hold on to them for a while. Like the Tamron 150 to 600 I was talking about earlier, that's a 6-pound lens. And holding that for even 20 minutes, that will give you a dead arm. But get a monopod so you can just stand the camera up on that. The monopod takes all the weight, but you're still holding the camera.
Interesting. I didn't know lenses could weigh 6 pounds. Wow.
Oh, are you kidding? There's lenses that weigh up to 25, 30 pounds each.
Oh my gosh. I'm just a rookie at plane spotting and don't know anything about it. So that's why you were the first guest on this new series.
Well, this is a good time for you to learn.
Yeah, of course. I think aviation's all about learning. So,
Absolutely.
all right. Well, if Jake doesn't have anything else to add, I'm gonna wrap it up here. Well, folks, that will include the first episode of Line Up and Wait. If you like this episode and want to see more, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Also, please follow our social medias at Green Brothers Flying on Instagram and Green Brothers Flying on Facebook. They will also be linked in the description below just in case you did not get that. As always, if you have any future video ideas or want to see someone of this series, feel free to contact us on our social media or send us a message on YouTube. From the Line Up and Wait virtual studio, this has been your host Ryan Green with plane spotter Jake Youngs. Till next time, blue skies and a tailwind.